Welcome to week number 61 of Scott's Weekend Sports today, ladies and gentlemen. I am back with my dad today. I know a lot of you have been asking for him. He's been out for the last 2 weeks because he's been too busy at work the last 2 weeks to come in. But we are back together today, and we are ready to make our college football predictions. So let's get into those right now. So the first game up is Alabama and Louisiana Monroe tomorrow in Tuscaloosa. I'll take Alabama easy in this game. Alabama looks great in this game, and I'll take Alabama at home.
Bama rolls.
Next up, a very underrated game at the noon hour as undefeated Syracuse goes in to Columbia, South Carolina, to Clemson, South Carolina, in my opinion, to take on Dabo Swinney and Trevor Lawrence and Clemson. I'm going to take Clemson to get revenge after last year. I think Clemson realizes how good Syracuse is this year, so I'll take Clemson to get a win over Syracuse this week.
I agree, underrated game. I think if this was at Syracuse, I might give Syracuse a chance. But Clemson's got revenge on their mind. Clemson's going to win this one.
Next up, number 12, West Virginia, heading in to Lubbock, Texas, to take on number 25 ranked Texas Tech after a big win last week. I will take West Virginia and Will Greer to get a win. They got a big win last week against Oklahoma State and Texas Tech, but I don't think the magic continues. I'll take Will Greer and West Virginia to get the win over Texas Tech.
You know, I'm going to take West Virginia on the road as well, and I'm going to predict that these teams are going to score a combined 100 points or more. No defense, all offense. Will Greer with that lustrous hair, former Gator, is going to get the win, 52-50.
Next up, Central Michigan heading into East Lansing to take on Michigan State. I'll take Mark Antonio and Michigan State, a team that not a lot of people are talking about, coming in at 2-1. So I'll take the Spartans to get a win at home over Central Michigan on tomorrow.
I agree. Spartans roll.
Next up, probably one of the biggest blowouts of the weekend is Jeremy Pruitt brings his Tennessee Volunteers in to Athens to take on Jake Fromm and the Georgia Bulldogs. Oof. This game will be over at halftime, folks. I will take Georgia to roll this week. This should be no problem for Georgia. Georgia's going to kill them. Not as many turnovers from Tennessee as we saw last week. But I'll take the Dogs at home over the Volunteers on Saturday.
Another easy one to pick. The Dogs roll over two former Sabian assistant coaches, but one's much better than the other. Georgia wins.
Next up, Baylor coming in at 2-1, heads into Norman, Oklahoma, and to take on Lincoln Riley and his Oklahoma Sooners, who were coming off a huge scare last week against Army. But I'm going to take Oklahoma to survive this week, get back on track, and beat Baylor in a track meet this week. I'll take Oklahoma.
I think Oklahoma wins as well. I think Oklahoma's a little overrated. I think people have them ranked a little too high. Barely beaten Army. Not that impressive at Iowa State. I think they're going to win this game, but they're not that great a team.
Next up, the Pitt Panthers coming off of a huge loss last week to North Carolina, heading in to the sold-out Spectrum Stadium tomorrow, surprisingly. Our first sellout this year is going to be at a 3:30 game. Number 13 ranked Knights in the nation. I will take UCF to get a big win here. I feel like UCF needs to blow this team out, and I think they're going to do just that. I'll take UCF by 28 to get it done against Pittsburgh. I just don't like Pitt's offense. Their defense will be minute, but I think UCF will pull away late. I'll take the Knights by 28 to get it done over against Pitt.
I like UCF here as well. They're pretty much the only Power 6 game this year because North Carolina was canceled. But I think they'll win by about 21. But I do think that they're going to win big.
Next up, the number 18 ranked Texas Longhorns coming off another big win last week. Heading to Manhattan, Kansas to take on the Kansas State Wildcats. And I'll be taking Texas again. Get on that win streak. 3 in a row for the Longhorns this week. I feel like they get it. I will take Texas on the road. Tom Herman is finally getting it into the groove here. I'll take Texas to beat Kansas State on the road in Manhattan this week.
Every year, Kansas State gets one upset win at home that people are shocked by, and this is the week. They're going to beat Texas at home. This is my upset special of the week.
Next up, Southern Miss heading into Jordan-Hare to take on number 10 ranked Auburn, coming off a win last week. Not very convincing, but they did get a win against probably the worst team in the SEC last week in Arkansas. I will take Auburn to get another win here. I feel like Jarrett Stidham's going to play well, and I feel like Auburn's going to get a win at home against Southern Miss.
I'm not sure what this means, but War Eagle.
Next up, number 14 ranked Michigan coming in to Evanston, Illinois to take on Northwestern. I will take Jim Harbaugh and his Michigan Wolverines to get another win here. I feel like they played much better since that Notre Dame game. So I'll take Michigan on the road to get another Big Ten win against Northwestern this week.
I think Michigan's playing angry right now. They started poorly, so now they're trying to make up for lost time. Michigan gets the win here.
Next up, a battle of 2 3-1 teams in the SEC as Florida heads in to Starkville, Mississippi to take on the Mississippi State Bulldogs. I'm going to take Mississippi State in this game. I feel like they need this win. They want to get this win. People are saying this is going to be the most humiliating and funny loss of the season. Seeing Dan Mullen go back to Mississippi State and lose to his former team. I think it's going to happen this week. I'm going to take Mississippi State at home in a close one. I think Florida will beat the spread, but I don't think they're going to win the game. I'll take Mississippi State at home.
I think Florida's going to go on the road and get the upset this week. I think that they played awful well against Tennessee. It's going to be tough to win on the road against Mississippi State, but I think Florida is going to get the win here.
Next up, Virginia Tech heading in to Durham, North Carolina to take on the surprising number 22 ranked and undefeated Duke Blue Devils. No, this is not college basketball season, ladies and gentlemen. Duke is actually building in football this season, but I feel like the dream's going to end this week. I'll take the Hokies on the road in Durham this week to pull off the upset and get the win over Duke on Saturday.
I'd say Virginia Tech's loss last week was shocking after they beat Florida State the first week of the year. Duke is undefeated because they played a bunch of weak teams. I think Virginia Tech goes in and gets a win here. I agree.
Next up, Stanford heading in to Notre Dame, Indiana to take on Brian Kelly and the Fighting Irish. Based on what I heard on the Jim Rome show earlier this week, Brian Kelly looks like he means business this week, but I don't think it's gonna matter this week. I'll take Bryce Love and Costello to get another good week. I'll take Stanford to pull off the slight upset on the road at Notre Dame and get another nice win.
I agree. I mean, I think Notre Dame is overrated. I don't think Michigan was that good. The teams that Notre Dame has played since that game they've struggled with, and Stanford really showed me something beating Oregon coming back. I think Stanford gets a close win at Notre Dame.
Next up, the South Carolina Gamecocks led by Will Muschamp heading to Kroger Field to take on the surprising 4-0, probably my surprise team this season so far in the SEC at 4-0, the Kentucky Wildcats. I picked against them last week, and I told my best friend Terry at our tournament last weekend for softball, if Kentucky pulled off the upset last week against Mississippi State, I would not go against them for the rest of the year. So I'm going to stand by that. I'll take Kentucky at home to get a win over South Carolina. I feel like the run game is going to be enough this week. I'll take the Wildcats at home to get a win over South Carolina.
I agree. I think Kentucky is underrated. I think they're flying under the radar, and they're going to get a stable win this week against South Carolina. Wildcats win.
Next up, number 20 BYU heading into Husky Stadium to take on the Washington Huskies. I'm going to take probably the best backfield of college football right now, in my opinion, in Miles Gaskin and Jake Browning. Give me Washington at home and in Husky Stadium to get the win against a very good BYU team. I'll take Washington at home over BYU.
I'm going to take a huge upset here, and I think BYU is a really good team. And I don't think Washington is as good as people think. I think BYU is going to go into Washington and shock everybody and get the win here.
Next up, Ole Miss heading in.
You don't agree?
I don't. Heading into Tiger Stadium to take on the Cookie Monster and his LSU Tigers. I'm going to take LSU at home. I feel like LSU's been a very good team this year, very surprising coming into the season. I'll take LSU at home to get a win over the Ole Miss Rebels on Saturday.
I got one word. Cookies. LSU wins.
Next up, number 19, Oregon, coming off a heartbreaking loss last week, heading to Berkeley, California to take on the number 24 ranked Cal Bears. I don't think Cal's going to stay in the top 25 this week. I feel like Oregon's going to beat them pretty bad this week. I'll take Oregon to bounce back after a tough loss to Stanford last week. Give me Cal. Give me Oregon on the road to get a big win over Cal on Saturday.
I agree. I think Oregon's going to be really angry after last week, and they're going to get the win at Cal this week.
Next up, in Happy Valley, Ohio State and Penn State. I'll let you pick first here.
I want to pick Penn State badly because I cannot stand Ohio State. But unfortunately, I think Ohio State's just too talented, and they're going to get the win on the road against Penn State.
College Game Day will be there tomorrow morning, and I have a slight big tidbit for you guys. So the road team has won 3 of the first 4 games in College Game Day this year, and I think they're going to make it 4 or 5. Give me Brutus. I think Corso's going to put Brutus back on this week, right back where it started from day one. Ohio State gets the win on the road in Happy Valley, a whiteout, and I think Ohio State pulls it off close in the fourth quarter. Now into the NFL games for the weekend. First game out will be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming in at 2-1, going on the road.
I'm going to pick the Rams over the Vikings.
I would have too. Yep.
Okay.
Heading into Soldier Field to take on Mitchell Trubisky and the Chicago Bears. I unfortunately don't think we're going to win this week. I'm going to take the Bears at home. That defense looks too good to me right now. Khalil Mack is going to destroy our offensive line. I'm going to take the Bears at home in a close game. I'll take the Bears at home to get the win over Tampa Bay.
Who's starting? Fitzmagic?
I think he should.
If Fitzmagic starts, mark it down. The Bucs get the win. He got the rhythm in the second half.
Yep.
They're gonna shore up their protection.
Yep.
They're gonna neutralize Khalil Mack, and the Bucs are gonna get a big road victory and go 3-1.
And the good thing is, whenever I don't pick against them this week, whenever I pick against the Bucs this year, they win. So hopefully it will happen again this week. Next up, the Cincinnati Bengals heading in to Mercedes-Benz Superdome to take on Matt Ryan and the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to take the home Falcons in this game. I feel like they need to win this game. Calvin Ridley looked great last week. Julio Jones. I don't know if they get Devonta Freeman back this week, but I'm going to take the Falcons at home to get a win over the Bengals on Sunday.
Close game. I think the Bengals are better than people expected, but with the Falcons playing at home, I like them in a close ball game.
Next up, a battle of 2 1-2 teams as Matthew Stafford brings his Detroit Lions into AT&T Stadium to take on the 1-2 Dallas Cowboys. I think Dak's going to have a good week this week. I feel like they'll finally give Zeke the ball when it matters, and I feel like the Dallas Cowboys will squeak out a low-scoring game win. I think the Cowboys will pull it off at home over the Lions.
These are 2 teams I cannot figure out. You got Detroit, who beat the Patriots last week. I think that was a fluke. I like Dallas at home in a close one.
Next up, the Buffalo Bills, led by Josh Allen, who had an amazing week last week. They pulled off one of the biggest upsets in the NFL last week, as they upset the Minnesota Vikings last weekend. But they head into Lambeau Field to take on Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to take the Pack at home. It's hard to win at Lambeau, so I'll take Aaron Rodgers and the Packers to get a home win over the Bills on Sunday.
Who can predict the NFL? I mean, the Packers lose to the Redskins, and Buffalo beats Minnesota. Can't figure it out. Probably wrong this week, but I got to take the Packers at home.
Next up, the Philadelphia Eagles heading into Nissan Stadium to take on the Tennessee Titans. Marcus Mariota will be back this week, but I'm going to take the Eagles on the road. Carson Wentz looked good last week. Almost got upset by the Colts last week, but they didn't. I'm going to take the Eagles on the road to get a win over the Titans on Sunday.
It's going to be a close game, but I think the Eagles have a little more offense than the Titans. The Eagles win by a field goal on the road.
Next up, the 0-3 Houston Texans heading in to Lucas Oil Stadium to take on Andrew Luck in the 1-2 Indianapolis Colts. I'm going to take the Texans on the road. I feel like the Texans have had a great season. They just can't get wins right now in the AFC South. They need to get wins if they want to hang in there with Jacksonville and Indianapolis and Tennessee in that division. So I'll take the Texans on the road to finally get a win and pull off the upset over the Colts.
I'm going to take the Colts in this one. I think it's going to be a tight game. I can go either way on this one, but I think the Colts get the win at home.
Next up, 2 teams are going in opposite directions of where I thought they would this year, as the 3-0 Miami Dolphins head in to Gillette Stadium to take on Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. I'm going to take the Pats at home. 2 straight losses. Brady's going to be upset after what happened last week. I feel like the Patriots are going to bounce back and finally get into their groove and start getting wins left and right. I'll take the Patriots at home to get a win on the road at home and give the Dolphins their first loss of the year.
I think the Dolphins are a fluke at 3-0. I think the Patriots are a fluke at 1-2. I like the Patriots to win this by at least a touchdown.
Next up, the New York Jets heading into TIAA Big Field to take on Blake Bortles and hopefully Leonard Fournette's back this week, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jags are coming off probably one of the worst performances of the year last week, losing 9-6 to the Titans. But I think they're going to bounce back this week. I'll take Blake Bortles and the Jaguars to get a win here at home against a okay Jets team. I'll take the Jags at home to get a win over the Jets.
I agree. The Jags gave that game away last week. Terrible offensive performance. They could bounce back this week, and they take the Jets by at least a touchdown.
Next up, the Cleveland Browns, who finally got a win last week. First time since December of 2016 that they've gotten a win. And they head in to the Coliseum to take on Jon Gruden and the Oakland Raiders. I'm going to take Baker Mayfield to get another win. I feel like the Browns have finally found their quarterback, and I feel like the Browns will get a win on the road against the Raiders, and I'll take the Browns over the Raiders.
Are the Raiders winless?
Yes, they're 0-3.
I think the Raiders are going to get their first win of the year. I think it's going to be a close game. I think the Browns could very well win this game, but I think the Raiders are fighting for their lives, and they will get their first win of the year.
Next up, the Seattle Seahawks, who are coming off a win last week in Dallas, as they head in to the University of Phoenix Stadium to take on Josh Rosen and the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to take Russell Wilson and the Seahawks to get a win here. This is basically a who's the worst team in the NFC West battle. So I'll take the Seahawks on the road to get a win in Phoenix and get a win over the Cardinals.
I agree. The Cardinals are one of the worst teams in the NFL. I don't think the Seahawks are that good, but they're just better than the Cardinals that they win this week.
Next up, the New Orleans Saints heading into MetLife Stadium to take on the 1-2 New York Giants. I'll take Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints to get another good win this week. I'll take the Saints at home on the road in New York to get a win over the Giants on Sunday.
The Saints are a much different team on the road than they are at home. I'm going to pick the upset here. I think the Giants are going to beat the Saints at home.
Next up, the San Francisco 49ers heading into the StubHub Center in Carson, California to take on Phillip Rivers and the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm so sorry to all you Niner fans. I thought you guys had a good chance of making the playoffs this year, but unfortunately you lose Garoppolo in week 3. But I'm going to take the Chargers out at home to get a win over the Niners. C.J. Beathard, the former Iowa quarterback, will be under center this week for the Niners. I'll take the Chargers at home over the Niners on Sunday.
I think this is one of the easier games to pick with Jimmy G going down. I like the Chargers at home.
Next up, the Baltimore Ravens heading into Heinz Field to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Sunday Night Football. I will take the Steelers at home. I feel like the Steelers got their mojo back last week after getting a win in Tampa. They got their mojo back, and I feel like they're going to start getting some wins. I'll take the Steelers at home to get a win over the Ravens on Sunday Night Football.
This is a traditional rivalry, very close games, but I think the Steelers have got some momentum going. I think they will beat the Ravens at home in Heinz Field.
Next up, the red-hot Kansas City Chiefs head in to Denver and Mile High to take on the Denver Broncos. I will take the Kansas City Chiefs to get another win here. I just hope Mahomes doesn't blow up this week because I'm playing against him in fantasy this week, so hopefully he does not blow up this week. Maybe like 3 touchdowns would be nice. I'll take the Chiefs on the road to get a win in Mile High over the overrated Broncos defense. I'll take the Chiefs on the road to get a win in Denver.
It would not shock me to see Denver win this game, but I am going to take the Chiefs. I think it would be a closer game than people expect. I do think that when you have a rivalry game like this, they tend to be close, but I think the Chiefs will get the win.
And that will do it for this episode of Scott Speaking Sports Today, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be back with 2 videos next week. I believe I'll do one on Tuesday and one on Thursday next week. And I will, Tuesday will be my WWE predictions for the next pay-per-view. And then Thursday I'll be back all by myself again without my dad for the NFL and college football predictions. And I'll see you guys right back here next week on Scott Speaking Sports right here on YouTube. See you later, guys.
See you guys.